What's up, everybody? Welcome to Move the Sticks. DJ Bucky back together. Buck, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm good, DJ. A couple days closer to training camp and stuff starting. It's kind of crazy that we're literally less than 2 weeks away from camp starting. Kind of bananas how quick the summer's going by.
It's crazy how long the ride is. Like you kind of wait in line to get to the roller coaster, and then it's a long roller coaster once the season starts. And looking forward to it, man. It's one of the things that we enjoy doing this time of year is kind of looking at divisions and trying to see what we're up on, stocks we're buying, so to speak. We did this with a few divisions before we took a little break, so I figured we could jump back into it and kind of polish off the rest of these teams. So I think we're going to do today the East. So we'll do the NFC East and the AFC East. And instead of looking at the entire rosters, I thought because the personnel background, the scouting background, Buck, let's look at the young players. So let's just try and find a player in the rookie class that we want to buy and a player that's going to be coming into their sophomore season, so to speak, year number 2, that we're high on. Are you ready to roll?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
All right, let's start off here. Let's go AFC first. Let's start AFC East, and let's go with the Buffalo Bills. How about a rookie and a second-year player that you're buying?
Ooh, man, easy pickings would be James Cook, the second-round player from Georgia. With the Buffalo Bills, man, the Buffalo Bills are a team that desperately needs their running game to get started, and it doesn't need to be solely Josh Allen. James Cook being able to get in the backfield, not only as a special playmaker in terms of running between the tackles, but he also has some nice hands. I think he is the perfect back to put alongside Josh Allen. This offense could really explode now because you have a dynamic runner like Cook behind him.
Yeah, how about second-year player? And then as we go through this, we're going to find the DNA matches, and let's have Nabil, as we're recording this, you can kind of put in the chat the guys that we have the DNA matches, and then when we finish up, we'll go, okay, these guys got both our votes. But how about a second-year player?
Well, a second-year player, man, it's kind of easy for me because I'm going to go with Gregory Rousseau. The reports that you hear about Rousseau going into his second year, just really getting comfortable, settling in. I like Boogie Basham, but I think Rousseau has an opportunity to be a terrific player. He gets a chance to see Von Miller work every day. And if you know Von Miller, if you watched him work, you also understand that he created that pass rush summit. So he doesn't mind passing along tips and insight on how to be a great rusher. I expect Gregory Rousseau to really explode because when we talked to him on this podcast, his understanding of pass rushing to me was really exceptional. I think now he's able to put it all together and take what he knows combined with what he has physically. I think we begin to see the numbers match up with the potential.
All right. We haven't been together. We haven't discussed our list. Buck, we are 2 for 2 because I am buying the exact same stocks that you're buying. James Cook, and to me, it's the passing game, what he can bring with Josh Allen. They're not afraid to put it up. I am curious to see how the offense is a little different without Greg Roman there, but I have a feeling you're going to continue to see this aerial attack, and it's just an extension of the running game with James Cook out of the backfield, running receiver routes as well. So that to me is the rookie that I'm buying. And then I'm with you. We both were on the Rousseau train since he came on the podcast. During that final year, he had sat out because of COVID, protecting his mother. And then, last year you saw some flashes, maybe not as consistent as you'd like, but this guy is incredibly young. He's got a rare body, in terms of the length that he has and the ability to play and win outside on the edge as well as reduce down. And I think you brought up a great point about Von Miller, kind of giving him that big brother. I like his game. I like his stock. And I think they're a team that's going to be playing with the lead. He's going to get a chance to rush a bunch. So I'm with you. We're 2 for 2 starting this thing off. Let's keep it rolling here. Let's go Patriots.
When we go to the Patriots, it's funny because the Patriots are always a hard team to evaluate when it comes to their draft. But, I am not going to take the first round pick. I'm going to go with Tyquan Thornton from Baylor. Having watched him at the East-West Shrine game, man, his speed is real. You feel it. You feel his explosiveness, the way that he comes off the ball. This is a team that desperately needs more playmaking on the perimeter. As a vertical stretch guy, he should be able to deliver some of that.
I like that one. Give me your second-year player.
So second-year player, everyone has talked about Mac Jones, but I think people fail to look at what Christian Barmore was able to do at the line of scrimmage. Dominant big man at the point of attack. Heavy hands, was beginning to kind of find his way in terms of being able to get into the backfield and make plays. This year, settling into the defense, I think we have an opportunity to see him play at a very high level.
Yeah, I'll work backwards because I had Barmore as well. So I'm big on Barmore. And if you look at what Jeffrey Simmons has done in his young career with the Tennessee Titans, I really think Barmore has that type of ability to just take over games and dominate games. It's a good scouting lesson too, because we talk about grading the flashes, and you saw him come on at the end of his time there at Alabama. The tape at the beginning of his season was not as good. He had to work through some injuries and things. But if you kind of looked at what the upside was with him, that's what the Patriots have gotten so far. I think he's going to be a Pro Bowler. So I'm big on him. That's my second-year player. The first-year player I'm buying is actually a guy that you've known going back to high school, and that's Jack Jones. A little undersized corner out here. What do you go? Long Beach Poly, I believe.
Yeah, Long Beach Poly. Willie Mack. Willie McGinnis' alma mater.
There you go. Deshaun Jackson. That place has put out some dudes. But anyways, he goes to USC, gets in a little trouble, ends up at Arizona State. He's undersized. But somebody that's got tremendous quickness and ball skills. And, I think he's been coached, and my buddy TJ McCrate's brought this up before. He's been coached by NFL guys with Donnie Henderson at Arizona State, talking about Herm Edwards there as the head coach. He's had a lot of influences, Marvin Lewis. So I think his ability to transition to a pro system there with Coach Belichick, I think he's going to make plays. J.C. Jackson's gone. There's a spot open there. J.C. Jackson, undersized corner, played well in that scheme. Used to be the Patriots. We thought about big corners, that not anymore. I think he finds his way on the field and makes some plays, so I'm going to buy him. How about the Dolphins, Buck?
Well, the Dolphins were limited. I mean, you only had 4 draft picks come through. So let's go to their top pick, which was Channing Tindall. He was taken in the 3rd round from linebacker. This is a team that, when you look at the Miami Dolphins defensively, they have a lot of intriguing pieces, right? They're solid at the front line. They have playmakers in the secondary. The second level, though, you're still looking for a guy to emerge. Channing Tindall, to me, is a very intriguing prospect. You put in there, you think about the length, the size, the athleticism. He has a chance. He has a chance to make some plays immediately as a rookie contributor. Keep an eye on him.
Yeah, I think he had a chance to get out there and sub, just ability to really, really run. I think he kind of works into a role, and you'll see that role grow. I had him as well as my guy there. How about the second-year player, Buck?
See, now this is challenging because they have a couple guys that I think will pop. Yes, Jalen Waddle, obviously, Jalen Phillips, but I'm going to go with Javon Holland, the safety from Oregon.
Yeah,
showed up. He showed up in a major way last year, man. The way they were kind of mixing and matching and coming and attacking, and you on some cover zero, all out blitzes with some traditional stuff. They did it. He made a ton of plays blitzing off the edge. Man, this guy's good, man. He's even better than I could imagine him being when we looked at him coming out. He is a big time player. I think he pushes for all-star honors.
Yeah, I'm with you. Same too. And to me, I really liked him coming into the draft process. He kind of kept climbing up the ranks for me as we went through it. And like you said, even better what you saw at the NFL level than even what we saw at Oregon. But somebody that could play in the slot, somebody that can play in the post, somebody that can blitz, somebody that can tackle. He's got a complete skill set, and he allows you to be multiple and do a lot of different things. So I'm a big fan of his game. He was one of those guys that in the run-up to that draft, maybe in the last 2 weeks, I had more – his name came up just about as much or more than anybody talking to GMs and head coaches around the league about where's this guy going to go. There's a lot of people really targeting him. And in hindsight, we all should have pushed him up higher, and he should have gone higher with the way he's played early in his career. So 2-for-2 match on the Dolphins. How about the Jets?
It's funny because once again, I think you and I, we've known each other enough. We kind of look but below the line a little bit in terms of trying not to do the obvious candidates. And so to me, Breece Hall is just so interesting. And I know he was one of your favorites when you just think about how this team was putting it together. But yeah, I know they took a running back last year, Michael Carter, but Breece Hall to me is kind of like the prototypical new school running back that you need to have in a pro style system. Someone who can do all the things on the ground, but is also a factor in the passing game. I just think Zach Wilson finds him early and often. He becomes one of his favorites, and they just kind of carve people up on these underneath throws. His ability to score in a variety of different ways, put up numbers in a variety of different ways, he's just so versatile. I just can't imagine him not being a big playmaker for them immediately.
We've been around each other too long, man. You knew exactly where I was going. I went to the same spot. I went to Breece Hall, and I think they have a nice collection, a nice committee of backs. And this is a system, kind of think of that Shanahan system where they kind of chew up and spit out these guys. And, one guy takes the load for 4 or 5 weeks, then he maybe gets nicked up. Another guy takes the load for another 5, 6 weeks. I think this is one of the more talented runners to be in this system. We've seen this system create stars, Buck, but we've always talked about, and you've always brought it up, you put Terrell Davis, you put a Hall of Fame player, in this system, and then it goes to a whole nother level. I think this kid's special. I think he's really good. So he's the one I'm buying for your number one. How about your number two? See if we keep the streak alive here. Who you got?
Well, your number two, I want to put all my eyes on the quarterback, because I feel like people took shots at Zach Wilson, and there's maybe questions about Zach Wilson being the number 2 overall pick in that draft. And you and I talked about him when he was coming out. This guy has big-time arm talent. He has kind of this loose playmaking ability that sometimes can get him in trouble because he does have that gunslinger stuff. But he has some swag to him that I think the Jets needed. They needed someone who was ultra confident and was ultra competitive and athletic and all that. This is the year that they put it together. I think he finds comfort within the system. He plays more within the structure. And in playing within the structure, I think we see his splash plays go up.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue. If they're going to have any success this year, he's going to have to take a big step forward. And they've put so many pieces around him. We'll see how the offensive line shakes out, where Mekhi Becton can land. Man, he looked big the other day looking at that picture of him on the internet, but we'll see how he shows up to camp and what he looks like. I'm gonna go with the receiver, and Elijah Moore, though, is my choice. This is somebody that we saw when he was healthy and he was out there, not only like a good rookie player, but a great overall receiver. Somebody who's got a chance to be one of the better guys in the league. The ability to separate, the ability to go get it. He's an outstanding player, and I think we see a better version of him, hopefully a healthier version here in year number 2. Okay, that takes care of the AFC East. Let's take a quick little break. We're going to come back and get to the NFC East. All right, here we go. 3, 2. All right, Buck. Let's switch it over to the NFC East, and let's start with America's team. I think we have to, the Dallas Cowboys. Who do you like? Year 1, year 2, breakout guys, stocks you're buying?
This is tough because there are a couple guys that I like for the Cowboys. I'll go on record and say I think Sam Williams is going to be a terrific player. I don't know if we couldn't necessarily talk about him enough in the pre-draft process because of all the stuff that was around him. But as a player, he is terrific. Tyler Smith is the guy to have my eyes on, though. Tyler Smith is something that they needed. They need an elite level offensive tackle to shore up this offensive line and recreate what they had when they were at their best. Look, he's not a flawless prospect. He has some things that he has to work through. But I don't know if there's anyone bigger and more tougher than this guy at the point of attack. He gives them that bully on the block. And they need it because they got to make sure they're able to run the football, whether it's Zeke Elliott, Tony Pollard. They have to be able to run the football because the running game is going to be critical because now you're down a receiver in Amari Cooper. You're going to make sure you can run it so you can dictate the terms to the defense.
Yeah, and I took the obvious low-hanging fruit. I went with Sam Williams, and again, had the off-the-field stuff. We didn't get into it much in the run-up to the draft, but you saw him in an all-star game setting. We saw him show up at the Senior Bowl as well. But you watch him against elite competition in the SEC, burst and bend and finish. He's got it. He was a first-round caliber player. They got a discount on because of some of the teams having and rightfully so having concerns there with some of the character background. So. The ability has always been there, and I think he's got a chance to make an immediate impact. How about the second-year player for the Cowboys?
Second-year player is a little more challenging, but I would say we didn't see this guy play much, and that was Jabril Cox. Jabril Cox, they have high hopes for because of his versatility and athleticism. To me, he is a natural nickel linebacker. You have LVE, you have Michael Parsons, but you're always looking for that jack of all trades guy that can do a bunch of different things. He, to me, can be that guy at the second level. I'll keep an eye on Cox. I think he has an expanded role this year. He plays well for Dan Quinn.
Yep, that was my guy too. I think it was 6 games. I think he tore his ACL 6 weeks into the season last year. But somebody that can really run and cover. Again, somebody I think that's going to play off beautifully off Michael Parsons. He might have more of an impact just because his presence might allow Parsons to rush more, because you get another quality off the ball guy. So I think, stats wise, he can have an impact even without, doing as much just because it's going to free up Parsons. Okay, let's go to the Philadelphia Eagles, Buck. First-year player, second-year player.
Well, this is interesting because the Philadelphia Eagles are kind of like viewed as an all-star team. And I mean,
don't use that word. I was there for the dream teams. To stay away from those monikers.
I mean, I didn't say it. They've said it. Let's go with Cam Jurgens at center. And this is why Cam Jurgens to me is intriguing. Jason Kelce is one of the best centers in football, but he's not going to continue to play for a long time. So I just wonder, how are they going to develop Cam Jurgens to eventually replace him? Cam Jurgens, super athletic, and the one thing that I like about what the Eagles have done is they're replacing or grooming a replacement by adding a guy who has similar traits and skills in terms of just the movement skills and the ability to turn the corner and do all those other things. So Cam Jurgens to me is a guy who may not contribute immediately, but I think this is a guy that's going to be a critical player for them over the next decade.
Yeah, it's like the Apprentice, right? He's the Apprentice. I never watched that show, by the way, which I'm sure that people did not anticipate that was going to eventually be the president of the United States. But he's getting a chance to do a legitimate apprenticeship under a Hall of Fame caliber player with a similar skill set. So that's fantastic for him. I went with the big man. I went with Jordan Davis. I think get a chance to get him on the field right away. There was the knock on him. Well, how does he rush the passer? He didn't get as many opportunities to do so. And be honest with you, Buck, he might not get a ton of opportunities here because of some of the depth they have and guys that can rush on the interior. But I think he's got a chance to still, think about Vita Vea and the impact he had early on. I think you've got Jordan Davis has got a chance to do that. Plays a little bit differently. He more going to shoot gaps for a bigger guy. Be disruptive, play on the other side of the line of scrimmage, but I'm big on him. And I'll jump you on the second one because the year 2 player I went with was Milton Williams, who I think maybe, get some of those interior sub rush opportunities. So they've got a intriguing defensive tackle group there. Javon Hargrave played outstanding last year. Fletcher Cox, comes back on a new deal, a cheaper deal. He's getting towards the end, but I think they'll be able to keep him fresh now with some of the talent that they have. So I like that mix of interior D linemen they have in Philly.
Yeah, so you talk about staying with the mix. One thing that we've always talked about with the Philadelphia Eagles is they've done a really good job of making sure they always take care of the trenches, O-line, D-line. So I'm going to keep my eye on Landon Dickerson. Landon Dickerson is someone that they took coming off an injury, got a chance to kind of get his feet wet or whatever. Like now is how are they going to deploy these young pieces that they have? The Philadelphia Eagles are a danger and a threat, not because of the sexy stuff that they've added on the perimeter, but because arguably they have one of the best offensive lines in football, and I think it will continue to get better. And so that's my guy, Landon Dickerson. That's what I'm keeping an eye on.
Yep, I like that one. Let's get to the Commanders here, the Washington Commanders. Who do you like?
So the Washington Commanders are a tricky team because, look, I kind of feel like they have solid pieces. I just need to see how the pieces of the puzzle are going to fit. Let's go running back Brian Robinson from Alabama. And the reason why I think Robinson is one is because when I look at their running game, they have I would call it like the sexy stuff. They can get on the perimeter, they can make things happen, but I feel like they need a banger to truly be a physical team. Brian Robinson gives them that banger between the tackles, big, physical, finishes runs with authority. I can see him really jumping into this committee situation and having an impact. I just feel like this offense will be better when they're able to kind of slam it up inside and slam it repeatedly with a workhorse. I think Brian Robinson has potential to be one of those game-by-game workhorse backs for them.
Yeah, I like that. I'm going to go with double wideouts here. I'm going to go with Jahan Dotson as the rookie coming in. He's got the best hands in the draft, I thought, last year. He's a really clean route runner. I think he fits in nicely there. And I'm going to go with Dyami Brown as a second-year player that people kind of forgot about. Now, I was there for the Chargers game last year, and before that game, I think it was the opener, right? Fitz got hurt in that game. But in talking to some of the coaches for Washington before the game, man, they were gushing about Dyami Brown and what they thought he could become, and give them that vertical stretch guy, your North Carolina Tar Heel. So I'm gonna do that combination of those two wideouts and kind of see how they plug in and fill in around Terry McLaurin. It's a group that's got a lot of speed now all of a sudden. So we'll see if Carson Wentz can stretch the field a little bit.
Yeah, so I'm with that. Let's go to their defense, though, because their defense is still lacking. How about Jamin Davis from Kentucky? This defense has to play better. This defense was a huge disappointment. Yes, they had some injuries on the front line. You lose your number one player in Chase Young. You don't play at a high level, but I still felt like at the second level, they didn't get enough. It's time for Jamin Davis to be a bigger playmaker. And so Jack Del Rio has to figure out how to utilize what he has in front of him. But if Jamin Davis isn't making a ton of plays, then something is wrong. Former first-round pick needs to step it up. I think he's the guy that you need to keep your eye on.
All right, I like it. Let's finish this thing off here with the Giants here, New York Giants.
Because so much is riding on Daniel Jones, let's go with Evan Neal. Evan Neal from Alabama, offensive tackle, needs to come in immediately and be a big-time player. We can talk about their defense and all that other stuff, but offensively, they have to get it going. One of the reasons why Brian Daboll is there is because they needed to jumpstart the offense. They can't jumpstart it until he's able to fix the quarterback, and you can't fix the quarterback until you protect him. It's all about protecting the king. So Evan Neal is a guy that you really got to keep an eye on.
All right, Evan Neal. I'm going to go on the other hand and go with the tight end here and Daniel Bellinger. Somebody at San Diego State that I liked was a traits guy. He was an outstanding blocker. Not a ton of production, but I think we've seen and we've talked about it over the years that tight end position, you're better off scouting the traits than the production. So he's somebody with an intriguing skill set. I think there'll be some opportunities for him there. I think he'll help the run game out as well. So I think kind of a complete tight end, maybe a little bit of an under radar player there for the Giants.
Yeah, under the radar player. He has to play well. We continue to talk about the offense, so I'm going to continue to talk about the offense with Kadarius Toney. Kadarius Toney, to me, I won't say is a bit of a mystery, but I'm still trying to figure out, does this work for the Giants? Intriguing playmaker, do all kinds of stuff that we saw at Florida, but we didn't get a chance to see it last year. Flash is not enough. Now we need to see it because he has to be big time for Daniel Jones to have any chance of realizing his potential. Kadarius Toney has to emerge not only as a playmaker, I think he has to be the number one receiver for the Giants to have any chance of climbing the ranks in the NFC East. Yeah,
and I'm going to go on the defensive side of the ball. Azeez Ojulari, we saw some really good things from him last year. I think he's right on the cusp. He's going to be double-digit sack guy. He's got a real natural feel. He's a leverage rusher, can get underneath your pads a little bit. I think this is a defensive line with Kayvon Thibodeaux, and now all of a sudden you've got Ojulari. That's a nice little young combo. Those guys can work off of one another. So I like his potential, I like what we've already seen, and I think you see another step this year.
Yeah, I mean, we should see another step this year. And I am intrigued when Uruguay and Kayvon Thibodeaux came in studio. He talked about Azeez Ojulari on the other side and the competition that's building and what they have with those two guys, Kayvon Thibodeaux and Ojulari and Dexter Lawrence, and how Wink Martindale can really unleash. And I think the Wink Martindale signing or coming over to the Giants, that is going to be a game changer for them defensively. We know Wink is going to come after you. He's going to do it in a very creative way. Let's see if we can see if these young guys can start getting to the pass because he creates opportunities for them to eat.
No doubt. Well, there you have it. I know it's kind of a quicker episode today, but we made it through the AFC and the NFC East. Some players that we're buying there, and first and second year players. A lot of crossover, as you would expect, Buck. We had a lot of the same names as we always do, but some variety here as we get, especially when we got over to the NFC. But it's going to be exciting to watch. I mean, there's a lot of good young players in this league, and I think if you're looking for teams to make that next step, it's this group of guys that have to take them there.
Yeah, it has to happen. Normally, DJ, we talk about it. Guys make the most significant jump in their game between year one and year two. They're done with all the combine training. They're able to really understand what the game is like after playing a year. They can reset their focus and their training methods to become a better player going into year two. Also, the teams now have a better understanding of where these players are, and they can put them in situations that play more to their talents. This is a huge year for these second-year players. And for the rookies, you're hoping they can come in and hit the ground running, because if you can get a rookie player to dominate at a high level, just push you ahead of the game.
No doubt. All right, anything you want to add before we get out of here?
Nope. All quiet.
I appreciate you,
because I would always say no. Then I would add something.
Say something. Nope. I saw somebody that said that on there. Well, Look, I always like to me, one of the things about a podcast is I like the comfort of it, right? So I start every episode with what's up, Buck? Like that's how I start every episode starts like that, because it's just like I want it to be like we're talking on the phone. And if we were talking on the phone and you said, hey, anything else going on? I'd be like, nah, not really. But you know what? That's just what it is. This is a podcast, a conversation. But I saw somebody busting you on that. So
it's okay. You know what we need to figure out what episode we're on. I remember what episode we're on. Like what number? Like, we've been at it for a long time. I wonder.
We used to celebrate birthdays. I feel like we don't celebrate podcast birthdays anymore, man.
Yeah.
We got to be getting close to 800. Are we at 800 now or no? 1,000.
832. 832. All right.
Oh my gosh. Cool. Okay. Yeah. All right. That means we get 1,000. We got to do something for 1,000. Nabil, put that on the books. Yeah.
Big cake for 1,000.
All right, Nabil, thanks for all your work, brother. This has been a fun one. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. We'll see you next time right here on Move the Sticks.